Anantam Shukrana Guruji for this beautiful, blissful, divine satsang. Last week we read chapter 2 and 3 of Rudra Samhita section 5. In this we read that Indra and other gods, they were distressed and scorched by the brilliance of Maya and the three sons of Taraka. So they went up to Brahma and requested Brahma to devise a plan to annihilate or kill these demons. But Brahma told them that he was the one who granted them all the boons because of which the demons were enjoying, and therefore it was not proper on his part to devise a plan to kill them. So he guided them to go to Lord Shiva, as he was the only one who could solve their problems. So all the gods, including Indra, they went up to Shiva and they bowed down in front of Lord Shiva and joined their palms in reverence and eulogized him greatly. Then they requested Lord Shiva to kill the three asuras, as they had defeated Indra and they had controlled the three worlds. Now Lord Shiva told them that the three demons and Maya, they were meritorious and invincible, and because they were not doing any kind of wrong deeds and they were devotees of Shiva, it would be wrong on Shiva's part, and it would be a malicious act for Shiva to kill his devotees, and therefore he could not help them. He also told them that they should go to Vishnu and give this reason to Vishnu, the reason why Shiva cannot kill these three asuras. So all the gods, they went up to Brahma, narrated what had happened, and then Brahma took them to Vaikuntha, which is the abode of Lord Vishnu. There they narrated their distress to Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu started thinking and remembering the Supreme Vishnu, which is the Lord of sacrifices. So the Supreme Vishnu appeared in front of Vishnu, and Vishnu then guided all the gods to eulogize and pray or worship Lord Shiva as well as the Supreme Vishnu. Then the gods started eulogizing the Supreme Vishnu, and as per the Vedic rites, and from the sacrificial pit emerged thousands and thousands of bhutas. They had the body like Rudra, they were huge and they were armed with weapons. When they came there, Supreme Vishnu told them or instructed them to strike the three cities and burn the three cities. So following his direction, all the bhutas went to these three cities, and the moment they stepped into these three cities, they were burnt to ashes, just like moths are burnt by fire. So, some of them could escape back, and they narrated their plight to Vishnu, and Vishnu understood one thing very clearly, that as long as these asuras continue to worship Lord Shiva, they cannot be destroyed. So he devised a plan. He asked all the gods to go back to their abode and make a plan so that the demons become averse to Shiva. The moment they will stop worshipping Shiva and Shiva would get to know that these asuras are devoid of devotion, he would kill these asuras. So all the gods, including Brahma and Indra, they were reassured and they went back to their abode, and Vishnu started performing deeds which were beneficial for the gods to kill these asuras. We will read what happened further in the following chapters. Today we will be reading chapter 4, which is the Tripuras are initiated, and chapter 5, the Tripuras are fascinated. Today Anil Uncle will be reading in English, and we also have Hindi reading. In Hindi we will be reading a brief chapter which includes the summary of chapter 2, 3, 4, 5 of English. And if anybody is interested in reading the Shivpuran, you can reach out to Seema Auntie or Rashmi Auntie or to me. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji.
Jai Guruji. Chapter 4. The Tripuras are initiated. Santa Kumara said, for causing obstacles in their virtuous activities, Vishnu of great brilliance created a Purusha born of himself. He had a shaven head, wore dirty clothes, held a woven wicker vessel in his hand, and a roll of cotton in his hand, which he shook at every step. His hands tucking at the cloth were weak. His face was pale and weak. In a faltering voice he was muttering, Dharma, Dharma. He bowed to Vishnu and stood in front of him. He spoke to Vishnu with hands joined in reverence. O laudable, reverent one, please tell me what my names are and what my place shall be. On hearing these auspicious words, Lord Vishnu became delighted and spoke these words. Vishnu said, O intelligent one, born of me, you are certainly identical with me in form. Know why you have been created, I shall tell you. You are born of me. You can perform my task. You are my own. Certainly you will be worthy of worship always. Let your name be Arihat. You will have another auspicious names too. I shall assign you a place afterwards. Now hear with reverence what is relevant to the context. O you whom wield Maya, create a deceptive sacred text of 1,600,000 verses, contrary to Shrutis and Shmitis, wherein Varnas and Ashrams shall be ensued. Let that holy text be in Abha Brahma language. Let there be emphasis on actions. You shall strain yourself to extend it further. I shall bestow on you the ability to create it. Different kinds of magic arts shall be subservient to you. On hearing the words of Vishnu, the great soul, the Maya Purusha bowed to and replied to Vishnu. The shaven head said, O Lord, command me quickly what I shall do. At your binding, all activities shall be fruitful. Santa Kumara said. Saying this, he recited the main tenet in the deceptive philosophy. Heaven and hell are functioning here itself. Remembering the lotus-like feet of Shiva, Vishnu told him again, these asuras, the residents of the three cities, shall be deluded. O intelligent one, they shall be initiated by you. They shall be taught strenuously. At my bidding, you will incur no sin at that account. O eccentric, no doubt, Vedic and Samatra rites flourish and sign there. But these shall certainly be exploded through this vidya. O you with shaven head, you shall go there for destroying the residents of the three cities. Revealing the Damaksha riots, destroy the three cities. After that, O great one, you shall go to the desert region and stay there, carrying on your own duties and activities till the event of the Kali age. When the Kali age begins, let your dharma be revealed. You shall then continue to do so by means of disciples and disciples' disciples. At my bidding, your cult shall certainly expand. Depending upon my permission and direction, you will attain me as your goal. At the bidding of the Lord Shiva, transmitted through and the thought process, Vishnu the powerful commanded him thus and vanished. Then the asterisk of shaven head, acting in accordance with Vishnu's behest, created 4 disciples of the like form of himself and taught them deceptive cult. The 4 disciples had shaven heads and were of auspicious features. They bowed to Vishnu, the great soul, and stood waiting. O sage, the delighted Vishnu too, who carries out the behests of Shiva, spoke to those 4 disciples. Just as your perpetrator, and you too will become blessing at my bidding. There is no doubt in this that you have attained good goal. The 4 disciples with shaven heads followed the hetric cult. They had the wicker vessel in their hands. They covered their mouths with a piece of cloth. They habitually wore dirty clothes. They did not talk much. Delighted, they used to speak dharma in the great gain and the true essence, and some similar words. They held a besom broom made of pieces of cloth. They used to walk around step by step very slowly because they were afraid of injuring living beings. O sage, with great joy, they bowed to the Lord and stood in front of him. They were grasped by the hand by Vishnu and formally entrusted to the preparator. Their names too were announced by him particularly and lovingly. Just as you, these two also belong to me. The initial prefix to their names shall be the word Pujaya, because they are worthy of respect. Let their names, Rish, Yati, Acharya, and Upande, also be well-known appendages to you all. My name also be assumed by you. The auspicious name of Arihat shall be considered destructive of sins. All the activities conducive to the happiness of the world shall be performed by you. The goal of those who carry on activities favorable to the world shall become excellent. Santa Kumara said, then bowing to Vishnu, who carried out the wishes of Shiva, the deceptive sage went joyously to the 3 cities accompanied by his disciples. Urged by Vishnu of great magic, that sage of great self-control entered the 3 cities and created illusion. Stationing himself in a garden at the outskirts of the city, accompanied by his disciples, he set his magic in motion. That was so powerful enough to fascinate even the expert magicians. O sage, this magic was ineffective in these three cities by virtue of Shiva's worship. Then the hetric sage became distressed. He mentally remembered and eulogized Vishnu many times. With an aching heart, he had been so dispirited and listless. On being remembered by him, Vishnu mentally thought of Shiva. Receiving his behest by the process of thought forms, he remembered Narada. Immediately after Narada approached Vishnu, after bowing to him and eulogizing him, he stood before Vishnu with palms joined in reverence. Vishnu, the foremost among the intelligent and who always carried out the task of the gods and who was engaged in rendering help to the world, spoke to Narada then. "Oh dear, this is being mentioned to you at the bidding of Shiva. Go to the three cities immediately." The sage had gone there already for deluding the residents of the cities. Santa Kumara said, on hearing these words, Narada, the excellent sage, went there quickly, where the ascetic expert in magic was stationed. Narada, an expert in magic, at the bidding of the Lord, an expert in the art of illusion, entered the three cities along with the deceptive sage and got himself initiated. Then Narada approached the Lord of the three cities. After the preliminary inquiries about his health and welfare, he spoke to the king. Narada said, "A certain sage, very virtuous and excellent master of lores, has arrived here. He possesses complex knowledge of Vedic lore. Many cults have been observed by me, but none of them is like this. Seeing the external virtue in this cult, we have got ourselves initiated into it. O great king, O excellent asuras, if you have any interest in that cult, you shall get yourself initiated into it too." Santa Kumara said, on hearing these words full of significance, the lord of the asuras was deluded and exclaimed with surprise in his heart, "Since Narada has been initiated, we too shall be initiated." Resolving thus, the asura approached the sage. On seeing his features, the asura was deluded by his magic. After bowing to him, he spoke thus. The Tripura ruler said, "O sage of mind pure, you shall perform my initiation. I shall become your disciple." True, it is undoubtedly true. On hearing the frank words of the ruler of the asuras, the hetric sage, professing to the external, spoke empathetically. "O excellent asura, if you are prepared to act according to my behests, I shall initiate you. Otherwise, not even if you strive for a number of times." On hearing these words, the king was deluded by magic. With palms joined in reverence, he immediately replied to the sage. The asura said, "I shall carry out whatever command you are pleased to give me. I will not transgress your orders." True, it is certainly true. Santa Kumara said, on hearing the words of the Tripura ruler, the excellent sage removed the cloth from his mouth and said, "O Lord of Asura, take initiation in this most excellent of all cults. By this initiation you will become contented." Santa Kumara said, saying thus, the deceptive sage immediately performed the initiation of the ruler of the Asuras in accordance with his cult, observing all rules. O sage, when the ruler of the Asuras was initiated, along with his brothers and the residents of the three cities too got themselves initiated. O sage, the entire Tripuras were filled with the line of disciples of the sage, an expert in great art of illusion. Chapter 5, the Tripuras are fascinated. Vidya said, when the ruler of the Asuras was initiated after being deluded by the deceptive sage, expert in the magic art, what did the sage say? What did the ruler of the Asuras do? Santa Kumara said, after offering him initiation, the ascetic Arihan, served by his disciples Narada and others, spoke to the ruler of the Asuras. Arihan said, "O ruler of the Asuras, listen to my statement pregnant with wisdom. It is the essence of the Vedanta and bears high esoteric importance. The entire universe is external. There is no creator, nor is there an object of creation. It evolves itself and gets annihilated by itself. There are many bodies from Brahma down to a blade of grass. They themselves are gods for them. There is no other god. What we mean by Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra are only the names of embodied beings, just like my name, Arihan, etc. Just as our bodies perish when their time arrives, so also the bodies of all beings from Brahma to a mosquito perish when their time arrives. When we consider, none of our bodies is superior to any other, since in respect of taking food, copulation, sleep, and fear, these are invariable the same everywhere. Taking in water and foodstuff to the required quantity, all living beings derive a kindred satisfaction, neither more nor less. After drinking water, we are gladly relieved of thirst. Others too are equally relieved. There is no deviation this way or that. There may be thousands of dasmos of exquisite beauty and comely features, but only one of them can be used at a time for sexual intercourse. Let there be hundreds of horses of different varieties, but for the purpose of riding, only one can be used on one occasion. The pleasure that one derives in that sleep on a cushioned couch is the same that one derives by sleeping on the bare ground. Just as we, the embodied beings, are afraid of death, so also the bodies from Brahma to the worm are afraid of death. If we analyze with a keen intellect, all the embodied beings are equal. After coming to this conclusion, it does not behove anyone to injure anyone else. There is no other virtue equal to the mercy shown to living beings. Hence all men shall strenuously practice acts of mercy to living beings. If a single living being is protected, its amount to the protection of the three worlds. If that is killed, it amounts to the killing of all the others. Hence it is our duty to protect and abstain from killing others. Non-violence is the greatest virtue. Affliction of others is a great sin. Salvation is defined as non-dependence on others. Eating the food of our choice is heavenly bliss. This has been mentioned by the early sages with good justifications, to be sure. Hence no violence should be indulged by men who are afraid of hell. There is no sin equal to violence in the three worlds, consisting of mobile and immobile. A person who afflicts others violently goes to hell. A non-violent man goes to heaven. There are many kinds of charitable gifts. Of what avail are they which give very insignificant results? There is no other gift equal that of protection. 4 types of gifts have been mentioned by the great sages for the welfare of the people here, and thereafter as a result of discussions and deliberations of various sacred texts. Protection shall be granted to the frightened, medicine to the sick, learning to the student, and food to the hungry. All sorts of charitable gifts recommended by the sages do not merit even a 16th part of the gift of protection to a living being. The strength that one derives by the use of gems, mantras, and herbs is of inconceivable influence, but it is practiced strenuously only for earning money. The hoarding and amassing of vast wealth is useful only for the appropriation of 12 organs of sense. Of what avail is the proportion of other things? The 12 organs of sense are the 5 organs of activity and the 5 organs of knowledge, together with the mind and intellect. Living beings have heaven and bel here itself and not anywhere else. Happiness is in heaven and misery is in hell. If the body is cast off in the midst of enjoyment, that's the greatest liberation conceived by the philosophers. When pain comes to an end, along with its impressions, if ignorance too dies, it is conceived as the greatest salvation by the philosophers. Supporters and exponents of the Vedas accept this authoritative Vedic text that no living being shall be injured. Violence is not justifiable. The Vedic text encourages slaughter of animals cannot be held authoritative by the learned. To say that violence is allowed in agnitostoma is an erroneous view of the wicked. It is surprising that heaven is sought by cutting off trees, slaughtering animals, making a muddy mess with blood, and by burning gingerly seeds and ghee. Narrating these opinions to the leader of the Tripuras, the ascetic addressed the citizens with great zeal. He referenced to things which have credenced being visible, which brought happiness to the body, which are indicative to the Buddhist theology, and which are consistent with the Vedic passages. It is said in the Vedas that bliss is an aspect of the Brahman that shall be taken as it is. It is false to bring in various alternatives. One shall seek and enjoy happiness as long as the body is hale and hardy. as long as the sense organs are not impaired and as long as the old age is far off. When there is sickness, impairment of the sense organs, and old age, how can we derive happiness? Hence, those who seek happiness shall be prepared to give away even the body. The earth is burdened by those who are not ready to please and satisfy the suppliant. It is not burdened by oceans, mountains, and trees. The body is ready to go in a trice, and hoarded things are attended with the risk of dwelling down, realizing that a sensible man shall see all the pleasures of his body. It is mentioned in the Vedas that this body is going to constitute the breakfast for dogs, crows, worms. The body has an ultimate end in being reduced to ashes. It is unnecessary to divide the people into different castes, when all men who is superior and who is inferior. Old men say that creation began with Brahma. He begat two sons, the famous Dakas and Marisi. Kapsya, the son of Marisi, married 13 of the sweet-eyed daughters of Daksha, they say, in accordance with the righteous path. But people of modern times, whose intelligence and valor are but a medium, unnecessary wrangle over the fact whether this is proper or improper. Some of the ancestors thought that the four castes are born of mouth, arms, thighs, etc. of Brahma. But when we consider this does not fit in properly. How can sons born of the same body or from the same body be of four different castes? Hence, the division of castes and outcasts do not appear to be sound. Hence, no difference between man and man should be entertained. Santa Kumara said, O sage, addressing the Lord of the Asuras and the citizens, thus the sage with his disciples spoiled the Vedic rites in a determined manner. He then criticized the womanly virtues of chastity and many virtues of consistence, etc. Similarly, he attacked and repudiated the divine rites, Sraddhakara rites, sacrificial rites, and holy observances, and festivals, pilgrimages, and anniversaries. Worship of Shiva, appropriation of his phallic form, or adoration of Vishnu, Sun, Ganesha, and other deities in accordance with the sacred texts were repudiated by him. The heretic sage, an expert in welding magic, art foremost among the deceptive, criticized the ceremonial and charitable gifts that were made on auspicious occasions. O foremost among Brahmas, why shall I dilute upon this topic? Suffice it to say that the three cities, every type of Vedic rites was completely stopped by that deceptive heretic sage. The women of the three cities who were devoted, attached to their husbands, were deluded and misguided, and they abandoned their noble inclinations to serve their husbands. The fascinated men practiced rites of seduction and winning over and made their artificial fruitful in gaining other men's wives. The attendant maids in the harems, the princesses, the citizens, and the ladies were perfectly entranced by him. Thus, when the citizens became averse to virtuous rites and actions, evil reigned supreme. At the bidding of Lord Vishnu, his magic art and evil fortune visited the three cities. The glory that had acquired by the boon of the Brahma, the Lord of the gods, went out forsaking them at the behest of Brahma. Blessing them with the utter delusion of their intellect perpetuated by the illusion of Vishnu, Narada became contented. To Narada and the heretic sage had been in the disguise for long, and they were not defiled thanks to the benediction of Lord Shiva. Jai Guruji. I will now ask Rashmiyanti to read in Hindi. Jai Guruji.
जय गुरु जी। शुक्राना गुरु जी। तारक पुत्रों के प्रभाव से संतप्त हुए देवों की ब्रह्मा के पास करुण पुकार, ब्रह्मा का उन्हें शिव के पास भेजना, शिव की आज्ञा से देवों का विष्णु की शरण में जाना और विष्णु का उन दैत्यों को मोहित करके उन्हें आचार भ्रष्ट करना। संत कुमार जी कहते हैं, महर्षि, तदनंतर तारक पुत्रों के प्रभाव से दग्ध हुए इंद्र आदि सभी देवता दुखी हो परस्पर सलाह करके ब्रह्मा जी की शरण में आए। वहां संपूर्ण देवताओं ने दीन होकर प्रेम पूर्वक पितामह को प्रणाम किया और अवसर देखकर उनसे अपना दुखड़ा सुनाते हुए कहा। देवता बोले, धात, त्रिपुरों के स्वामी तारक पुत्रों ने तथा मायासुर ने समस्त स्वर्गवासियों को संतप्त कर दिया है। ब्राह्मण, इसलिए हम लोग दुखी होकर आपकी शरण में आए हैं। आप उनके वध का कोई उपाय कीजिए जिससे हम लोग सुख से रह सकें। ब्रह्मा जी ने कहा, देवगणों, तुम्हें उन दानव से विषय भय नहीं करना चाहिए। मैं उनके वध का उपाय बतलाता हूँ। भगवान शिव तुम्हारा कल्याण करेंगे। मैंने ही इन दैत्यों को बढ़ाया है, अतः मेरे हाथों इनका वध होना उचित नहीं। साथ ही त्रिपुर में इनके पुण्य भी वृद्धंगत होता रहेगा। अतः इंद्र सहित सभी देवता शिव जी से प्रार्थना करें। वे सर्वाधीश यदि प्रसन्न हो जाएंगे तो वे ही तुम लोगों का कार्य पूर्ण करेंगे। संत कुमार जी कहते हैं, व्यास जी ब्रह्मा जी की यह वाणी सुनकर इंद्र सहित सभी देवता दुखी हो उस स्थान पर गए जहां वृषभ ध्वज शिव आसीन थे। तब उन सब ने अंजलि बांधकर देवेश्वर शिव को भक्ति पूर्वक प्रणाम किया और कंधा झुकाकर लोगों के कल्याणकर्ता शंकर का स्तवन किया। मुने, इस प्रकार नाना प्रकार के दिव्य स्त्रोतों द्वारा त्रिशूलधारी परमेश्वर की स्तुति करके सर्वार्थ साधन में निपुण इंद्र आदि देवताओं ने दीन भाव से कंधा झुकाए हुए हाथ जोड़कर प्रस्तुत स्वार्थ को निवेदन करना आरंभ किया। देवताओं ने कहा, महादेव, तारक के पुत्र तीनों भाइयों ने मिलकर इंद्र सहित समस्त देवताओं को परास्त कर दिया है। भगवान, उन्होंने त्रिलोकी को तथा मुनीश्वरों को अपने अधीन कर लिया है और संपूर्ण सिद्ध स्थानों को नष्ट भ्रष्ट करके सारे जगत को उत्पीड़ित कर रखा है। वे दारुण दैत्य समस्त यज्ञ भोगों को स्वयं ग्रहण करते हैं। उन्होंने ऋषि धर्म का निवारण करके अधर्म का विस्तार कर रखा है। शंकर, निश्चय ही वे तारक पुत्र समस्त प्राणियों के लिए अवध्य हैं, इसलिए वे स्वेच्छा अनुसार सभी कार्य करते रहते हैं। प्रभु, ये त्रिपुर निवासी दारुण दैत्य जब तक जगत का विनाश ना कर डाले, उसके पहले ही आप किसी ऐसी नीति का विधान करें जिससे इनकी रक्षा हो सके। संत कुमार जी कहते हैं, मुने, यो भाषण करते हुए उन स्वर्गवासी इंद्रादि देवों की बात सुनकर शिवजी उत्तर देते हुए बोले। शिवजी ने कहा, देवगण, इस समय वे त्रिपुराधीश महान पुण्य कार्यों में लगे हुए हैं और ऐसे नियम है कि जो पुण्यात्मा हो उस पर विद्वानों को किसी प्रकार भी प्रहार नहीं करना चाहिए। मैं देवताओं के सारे महान कष्टों का जानता हूँ, फिर भी वे दैत्य बड़े प्रबल हैं, अतः देवता और असुर मिलकर भी उनका वध नहीं कर सकते। वे तारक पुत्र सब के सब पुण्य संपन्न हैं, इसलिए उन सभी त्रिपुर वासियों का वध दुस्साध्य है। यद्यपि मैं रणकर्कश हूँ, तथापि जानबूझकर मैं मित्रद्रोह कैसे कर सकता हूँ? क्योंकि पहले किसी समय ब्रह्मा जी ने कहा था कि मित्रद्रोह से बढ़कर दूसरा कोई बड़ा पाप नहीं है। सत्पुरुषों ने ब्रह्म हत्यारे, शराबी, चोर तथा व्रतभंग करने वाले के लिए प्रायश्चित का विधान किया है, परंतु कृतज्ञ के उद्धार का कोई उपाय नहीं है। देवताओं, तुम लोग भी तो धर्मज्ञ हो, अतः धर्म दृष्टि से विचार कर तुम ही बताओ कि जब वे दैत्य मेरे भक्त हैं तब मैं उन्हें कैसे मार सकता हूँ। इसलिए अमरो, जब तक वे दैत्य मेरी भक्ति में तत्पर हैं तब तक उनका वध असंभव है। यथापि तुम लोग विष्णु के पास जाकर उनसे यह कारण निवेदन करो। तदनंतर देवगण भगवान विष्णु के समीप गए और उनके द्वारा ऐसी व्यवस्था की गई कि जिससे वे असुर शैव सनातन धर्म से विमुख होकर सर्वथा अनाचार परायण हो गए। वैदिक धर्म का नाश होने से वहां स्त्रियों ने पतिव्रता धर्म छोड़ दिया, पुरुष इंद्रियों के वश हो गए। यो स्त्री पुरुष सभी दुराचारी हो गए। देवाराधन, श्राद्ध, यज्ञ, व्रत, तीर्थ, शिव, विष्णु, सूर्य, गणेश आदि का पूजन, स्नान, दान आदि सभी शुभ आचरण नष्ट हो गए। तब माया तथा अलक्ष्मी उन पुरों में जा पहुंची। तब से प्राप्त लक्ष्मी वहां से चली गई। इस प्रकार वहां अधर्म का विस्तार हो गया। मुने, तब शिवेच्छा से भाइयों सहित उस दैत्य राज की तथा मय की भी शक्ति कुंठित हो गई। This concludes the Shivpuran reading for today. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Maharaj.